Millions of cars today carry a simple plastic fish glued to the bumper. Teenagers wear the same geometry in minimalist silver rings. This modern ubiquity obscures the symbol's hyper-lethal radical origins. In the 1st century, the Roman Empire functioned as a hyper-militarized superpower. Citizenship often required a specific act of political and religious compliance, burning incense to Caesar as a living god. The early church refused this ritual, declaring a different king. In response, the empire unleashed systematic biological destruction. Believers were nailed to crosses along the Appian Way or thrown to starved lions inside the Colosseum for public entertainment. Roman law classified this movement as a superstitia, an illegal, treasonous underground cult rather than a recognized religion. Tracing those two arcs in the sand served as a desperate survival mechanism, a way to navigate a landscape where being discovered meant immediate execution. Rome operated a weaponized informant economy. Citizens were financially rewarded for reporting believers to the state, turning neighbors, merchants, and strangers into potential imperial spies. For a believer traveling to a new city, finding a local safe house was a matter of life or death. Yet asking a stranger for directions to a secret meeting was too dangerous. A single wrong question could lead to a bounty on your head. Identifying oneself with a cross was impossible. In the 1st century, the cross was the state's active execution device. Wearing one would be as obvious and as graphic as wearing a tiny gallows around your neck while running from a hangman. To survive, the church required a secret visual password. They needed a symbol mundane enough to be ignored by a Roman centurion, yet distinct enough to serve as a beacon for a fellow rebel. In this environment, visual invisibility was the primary requirement for remaining alive. Imagine sitting near a well in a dusty Roman marketplace. You suspect the stranger resting across from you might be an ally, but you have no way to be certain. If your intuition is wrong and that stranger is an informant, a direct conversation will trigger an arrest. You need to test them without exposing yourself. You take your wooden walking staff and casually drag a single curved line into the dry dirt between you. To a passing guard, this is a random doodle, an idle scratch in the sand that carries no weight. This provides a layer of protection. A single arc is legally and mathematically meaningless. You have initiated a verification protocol that keeps you safe while waiting for a specific response. If the stranger belongs to the same underground rebellion, they recognize that line as the first half of a code. Their adrenaline spikes as they realize they have been identified. To verify their identity, the stranger takes their own stick and draws an inverted arc intersecting yours, completing the profile of a fish. This interaction secures both parties. Neither person fully risks their life until the other actively contributes the missing half of the data. As the eye contact is made, the paranoia of the marketplace is momentarily replaced by a bond of brotherhood. Without a word being spoken, you have confirmed that you share the same faith and face the same shadow. As you stand to leave, a leather sandal sweeps over the dirt. The geometry is annihilated and the evidence is erased back into the dust. Long before the invention of digital encryption, these hunted refugees developed a physical verification protocol that allowed a movement to spread across an empire in total silence. The handshake explains the survival of the believers, but not the choice of the symbol. Why did the early church rely on a fish, rather than a loaf of bread, a vine, or a dove? The answer is found in the Koine Greek language. In Greek, the word for fish is ichthus. This 5-letter word was a mnemonic device. Iota for Iesus, chi for Christos, theta for theou, upsilon for Ios, sigma for soter. Without printed Bibles, this portable confession held the foundation of their faith in a format that could not be destroyed. The fish symbol was an intentional anchor for a fugitive theology, holding the movement's identity together across thousands of miles. This acronym carried massive political consequences. Roman emperors officially claimed the titles Son of God and Savior of the world. By applying those exact titles to a crucified carpenter, the early church was committing high treason. Every time they drew the fish, they were silently declaring that Caesar's claims to divinity were false. Looking at the minimalist fish on a bumper or a ring today, the context has shifted, but the geometry remains the same. The empire that hunted these people is dead and buried, yet the password they whispered in the dirt survived to be worn by millions. This symbol remains a physical link to that shadow brotherhood, proof of a movement that outlived the very superpower that tried to bury it.